In a bombshell interview with News Nation, Tim Burchett is grim about the prospects of UFO disclosure going forward. So let's talk about it. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. As most of you know by now, Tim Burchett and 5 other representatives wrote a letter to the IG requesting information and access to get David Grush in a skiff, presumably to get enough information together to pressure McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, into creating a select committee devoted to UFOs. So what are the prospects of that? What is the hope of that reality manifesting? Well, let's listen.
Representative, I read the letter to the Inspector General. It was a good letter. The thing I was wondering, though, Congressman, is what if they just blow you off? Like, what if they get the letter and do they have to respond? Do they have to answer any of? I think you had 3 really serious questions in there. Do they have to even answer them?
Yeah, they do technically, but of course they won't. This cover-up will continue, and I predict they're not going to let us have a select committee. They're going to go down the list and just shut this thing down. One, we got way too much publicity. We called way too much attention to the war pimps at the Pentagon. And other things, we know how much money they're wasting on these wild programs, and they won't even release this information. They want more money to study it, yet they say they don't exist. Yet we have footage, Pentagon footage, or Defense Department footage. So it just goes down the list, and it's just a complete cover-up, top to bottom, this thing, and they're just trying to run the clock out. You look at the Tic Tac videos, not TikTok, but Tic Tac, like the candy, right there, they denied they even existed, and then they were leaked. And then they came forward and said, in fact, they do exist. So it just continues. It's very frustrating, but they do it because they're allowed to do it, and because both sides of the aisle are compromised on this issue for whatever reason.
So once again, Tim Burchett is saying that people are compromised about UFOs in Congress on both sides of the aisle, and clearly he is up against members of his own party, with the Speaker of the House, and also, Comer and Mike Turner. So there are definitely people on his own side of the aisle that are opposed to UFO disclosure, and he is blasting them full force. I love how Tim Burchett goes after corruption even on his own side. That takes courage, and I salute that. But he believes the war pimps of the Pentagon are putting the kibosh down on UFO disclosure, and he is not optimistic about this at all. In fact, he addresses that in his next response.
You don't sound as optimistic, Congressman. I think last time I spoke to you was just a couple days after the hearings, and you were sort of like on fire. I was getting this feeling like we were really going to get info. Tonight, you sound a little more like they're just shutting you down every way, and we might not find out anything.
We're going to keep digging, and I'm going to find something out. Look what happened to poor David Grush. They discredited him. They attack a man that has PTSD. For goodness sakes, this is the United States of America. We ought to honor our veterans. Well, at least we do in Tennessee. We might not in Washington, D.C. And shame on both parties for allowing this, because this will provide a chilling effect to future whistleblowers. They will see this. They will see that we won't have a select committee. We won't be able to call this stuff in. We won't be able to provide them any protection. Whistleblowers will just be another name in the history books because we're gutless, and that's both parties.
Well, that is, of course, the point, right? They are intentionally trying to discourage more whistleblowers from coming forward. That's why they attacked David Grush. This is an orchestrated plan to prevent UFO disclosure. They are cracking down on the House Intelligence Committee, not allowing any more U.A.P. hearings in that subcommittee, and they are targeting whistleblowers to prevent more whistleblowers from coming out. However, as he says himself, all this started because of leaked videos. Now, I could question the semantics of the term leaked, because leak is an illegal activity, and the 3 videos released in 2017 were released legally, very sneakily on the part of Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon, but legally, so not technically a leak, but that's kind of arguing semantics. It was more or less leaked, and we are going to get further leaks. They cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube on this. If they try, there are going to be leaks in that tube. It is going to be springing toothpaste everywhere. We're going to have toothpaste all over us, guys. So get ready. If they try to dam this up, as they are going to do, that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to go the way they think. But what about the letter? What about getting David Grush in a skiff? Actually be able to get access to the information that David Grush hinted at, but could not reveal in an open setting. Well, here's what Tim had to say about that.
Last week that you were trying to reinstitute Grush's security clearance so that you could get him in a confidential area where you could get more answers, because he's not allowed to talk openly about some of this stuff at the hearings. Any progress on that? Do you think that may happen soon?
No, and that's why my friend Matt Gaetz suggested and actually requested the select committee from the speaker and the chairman of the committee. So it's really in their court right now. If the UFO community wants to request their congressman to get on board with this, I think it would be a good thing.
So yeah, guys, contact your congressperson and make your voice heard. Make sure that Congress knows that the public is demanding answers on this. Yeah, Tim Burchett is really down in the dumps on this. I mean, he is not feeling optimistic at all about this. He is grim. And here's what he had to say about the Schumer-Rounds amendment, which a lot of us still have a lot of hope for.
About this, I'm so interested in this. Congress still has to vote on the National Defense Appropriations Act. Senator Schumer put that portion in there that requires disclosure when it comes to UFOs, which was a big deal if that requirement makes it in. But I heard you, I think it was last week, saying that you don't think it's going to make it in, that you think it's going to get cut out. I mean, what's that all about? You really think that's going to happen?
What I think I really meant to say was, if it gets it in, it's not going to do anything. What it is, it provides, if you dig into it, it provides a clearinghouse. So we're going to have the Pentagon, again, unelected bureaucrats who've never fired a shot in anger, sitting behind a desk somewhere, deciding what photos, what information comes out on an issue they said does not exist. And they have video footage of it from their own members showing that it does. We have testimony of these pilots chasing these UFOs. Yet, it's just a complete circle. They say they don't exist, but send us money.
Send us money. That's what the Pentagon says. So yeah, Tim Burchett is not optimistic about this at all. He fears, as I do, that now that the establishment has stepped in and is passing legislation about this issue, that they are trying to control the narrative, that this gatekeeping committee that will be established by the Schumer-Rounds amendment will filter information to the public very selectively and only give us a little taste of what the truth is. And that's my fear as well, and I've mentioned that several times. Now, could Tim and I be wrong? Absolutely. Could the Schumer-Rounds amendment not be the establishment stepping in to control the narrative? Sure, absolutely. It could be a sincere effort on the part of Congress and the executive branch, because the executive branch is supporting this, to actually push the ball forward and get disclosure going and get more information known to the general government and also to the people. Absolutely, 100%, it could be a sincere effort. So what do you think, guys? Is it a sincere effort, or is it not a sincere effort? Is it the establishment coming in to seize control of the narrative and restrict what the public is allowed to know, while pretending to try to get to the bottom of this, as with Project Blue Book? To me, that's where my mind goes. That's historically how the government has behaved on this issue. Are they behaving differently on this issue this time? Because it's coming from a different place. It's coming from Congress. It's coming from the executive branch. It's not coming from the military. So theoretically, there could be a different response and even a different reason behind what they're doing, a sincere reason. So, my hopes are with that. I'm not optimistic about it, but I'm also not as pessimistic as Tim Burchett is. However, Tim is on the inside looking in. He knows a lot more than I do, and he's been around the block in Washington, D.C. So when he is pessimistic, I take his pessimism seriously. However, I will say that maybe he's just having a bad day. Maybe new information will come out, or, new revelations will come to light about the sincerity of this effort. However, Schumer, Biden, those guys that are supporting this legislation, they are not historically UFO guys. And this isn't a political point. I've blasted the Republicans in this episode as well. But they are establishment figures, just as those Republicans are as well. It's not a political issue in my mind. It is an establishment issue. The establishment is corrupt, and they have been keeping this from us forever. Are they going to change? Are they not? Could potentially the White House and Schumer not be representing the establishment on this issue? Could they be pushing this forward as independent thinkers, interested in transparency and the truth? Absolutely. I hope that's what's going on. Is it? I guess time will tell. But I do think there is reason for optimism, guarded, cautious, light optimism for the Schumer Rounds amendment. However, like I say, there is even more reason for optimism with leaks and whistleblowers, etc. Now, the whistleblowers are going to be discouraged from coming forward if this all kind of trails away. So that's 100% correct. But we will have more leaks coming out. We have hearings, UFO hearings in Mexico coming forward. We have revelations from Lou Elizondo to look forward to in his book that's going to be released soon. We have actually a whole bunch of really exciting things to look forward to in autumn and winter of this year. So don't get discouraged. This is a bummer. This is absolutely a bummer. But there will be more leaks. There have to be more leaks now because of the clampdown that is going on. That is going to motivate a lot of ticked off people that are part of the cover-up, that are tired of the cover-up, that want to get this truth out, that are already, we've already seen in the public purview, their efforts actually talking to David Grush. They didn't have to talk to David Grush. And the people that did talk to David Grush, they didn't have to be allowed to live. You know what I mean? So there are people interested in disclosure even within the government. the government too, but the cover-up. David Grush was investigating the UFO crash retrievals and reverse engineering projects, and he was actually able to talk to the people doing that and get information from them, get evidence and proof from them, which he was able to deliver to the Inspector General and to the intelligence committees of both chambers of Congress. Also, the direct participants of those programs were testified to the IG. So it is possible that some of those guys could come forward in a public setting. After all, David Grush is still alive and he's not in prison, so that could be an encouragement to some. Whether there's going to be hearings or not, there will be some entity of Congress willing to receive their testimony, hopefully. If not, perhaps field hearings in Tim Burchett's front yard. Another thing to be excited about the Schumer Rounds amendment is that AARO is going to be taken out from under the auspices of Ronald Moultrie, aka Mr. Cover-Up. So, as much as Sean Kirkpatrick is the lovely Sean Kirkpatrick, Ron Moultrie is perhaps even the more lovely Ron Moultrie. And so if AARO is taken out from under his purview, and ideally the director replaced with somebody else, maybe Jay Stratton or somebody will come back, right? He was the leader of the U.A.P. task force before he was kicked out in favor of Bray, who was another clone of Kirkpatrick. So perhaps we can get Jay Stratton or somebody like that. Somebody allied with the good guys, right? Jay Stratton is a friend and ally of Lou Elizondo and Travis Taylor and that camp. So hopefully we can get somebody like that as the director of AARO, and AARO is per the legislation as it stands now, and that can change. We don't have the final language of it yet. It hasn't been signed into law, but it is supposedly going to be taken out from under Ronald Moultrie in his office, and perhaps into a more independent and sincerely motivated office. All of which is to say there is reason for optimism. There is a reason with the legislation. There is reason with leaks coming forward, with revelations coming forward from Lou's book and other sources. We actually have a lot to look forward to, so don't get discouraged. Don't get bummed out. The process of disclosure has begun, and it cannot be undone. They cannot reverse this. They're going to try. Of course they're going to try. They've been doing this for a long time. They are not going to relinquish their grasp on this information lightly. They are committed to secrecy. But like I say, there are elements even within the cover-up that are going to continue to try to get the truth out. So be optimistic. Cautiously optimistic, because there is reason for that. And let me know your thoughts about Tim Burchett's comments in the path forward in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up. Sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I would love to see you guys there. If you could share this video on social media, that would be super helpful. I sure would appreciate it. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, there's a PayPal button below. A one-time donation would be wonderful. Or you could become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars. I love you guys. And thank you so much for your support. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos to check out on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.